What's up, everyone? Phil here, and welcome to my review of the movie The Whale, starring Brendan Fraser, his huge comeback to Hollywood after so many years away, and he won Best Actor for it at this year's Academy Awards. After hearing that he had won Best Actor for this movie, I wanted to watch it, and I want to say a huge shout out to one of my viewers who provided the movie for me to watch. I wanted to rent it, and I couldn't find it for rental anywhere. Just like buy it for like $30, and then a viewer actually sent me a code to watch it digitally. So thank you so much. So here's the deal. Unlike a lot of the other things I've been reviewing on the channel lately, this is no action movie. This is no happy, superhero nonsense. This is a serious film about the human condition, about not only mortality, but depression, happiness, life choices. It's pretty heavy stuff. It's not for the faint of heart. It's very emotional. And if you're not into that kind of movie, this is one you're likely definitely going to want to skip. I liked it. It was a 2-hour-long movie. And I'm going to try to summarize it without going through the entirety of the plot, because I really don't feel like I have to properly review the movie. The Whale is a movie about an English teacher who teaches online courses from his home. When he teaches the online courses, the webcam's off because he is grossly obese. He is massively overweight, he is unhealthy, and he is essentially eating himself to death. He has a friend who is a nice Asian woman who is a nurse, and the reason that she's his friend is because she used to be the sister of someone who he used to be romantically involved in. So you might say, oh, so it's a story about someone who's depressed because, his life partner passed away. Yes and no, because actually, this person also was married to a woman and has a daughter. And what happened was he was teaching in person before he became overweight and actually kind of fell in love with one of his students who felt the same way back. And what a story that you started off in a relationship, marriage between a man and a woman and having a child, and you're supposedly happy. But then at some point you realize you're not happy, that actually you have feelings towards someone of the same gender. And I mean, there's just so many things here that are wrong. For example, obviously having a romantic relationship with someone who's your student. I believe it is said in the plot that originally the student might have even been underage, but then they didn't really get together until the student was of age. Don't quote me on that, but I think that might have actually been talked about in the movie. And so where did it all go wrong? Well, first of all, obviously, if he's going to be in a relationship with a male when he's married, his wife and his daughter, they basically say that, his wife says, I can't be with you anymore. That's it. We have to break up. This is, I don't even want you to see your daughter. You're leaving us for this man. This is horrible. Obviously, why are you doing to us? So his previous life of his wife and daughter are taken away from him because of his life choices. Then what ends up happening is the student who he's romantically involved in, as they're getting older together, is disowned by his own family. Why? Because the family is a religious family into, kind of traditional religious values. And because of that, they find out that he's gay, that he's in a relationship with his former teacher, and they disown him. So now his life partner is all depressed and basically can never get over it and eventually commits suicide. So think of it. He went from having a family to literally having nothing because of his choices. And that will, I could just imagine what that could do to someone's psyche, living with the fact that not only did you are you responsible for your daughter being unhappy growing up without a father because the mother doesn't want you to see the daughter because of the horrible choices you made abandoning the family for this other person. But then on top of that, the fact that this other person, if they were never with you, maybe would have still been alive because they committed suicide because their family disowned them because they were in a relationship with you, right? So just think about that. So basically the story is this person is essentially eating themselves to death because they are so depressed. They really don't feel like they have anything else to live for. Their only friend is, like I said, the sister of the former life partner who comes over and kind of takes care of him. She's a nurse. And so she does tests on him and everything. And then one day come to find out he's dying. He's just in such a horrible physical state that he could be dead within days. Okay. His blood pressure is so awful. And so the story kind of starts where there's a random encounter where someone incidentally from the actual church where his life partner previously went to and was disowned by his family because he was gay, comes as a missionary to his house at a time when he needs help. And it's like, is this chance? Is this God's intention? And so there's this whole crisis thinking about that. And of course, he hates the church because this church is what, essentially forced, well, not really forced, but, led his former life partner to commit suicide. But then there's an interesting plot where he wants to basically now reach out to his daughter because he's like, if I'm going to die, I at least want to be sure my daughter's okay. And so his daughter is a troubled teen who is getting into massive amount of trouble at school and everything. And so a major part of the plot is her coming over with the mother not knowing and basically them having various interactions. He says that he will write her essays for school as long as she continues to come and write for him personally. It's a very interesting story. Basically, over the course of the movie, there's a few other characters that get involved. Like at one point, his former wife shows up after finding out what's been going on with the daughter all along. There's a couple medical emergencies where he barely makes it. There's one point where he literally reaches the tipping point because of everything going on, and he just massively starts overeating entire pizzas and stuff. And it's absolutely scary, shocking, and disgusting. It's like, whoa. Like there's horror from a horror movie, and then there's like realism horror. And that's when you're forced to see that, you're like, oh my God, to see that. And you think there's probably people like this, How do you think they get to that level of being that grossly obese? So man, let me tell you, very different kind of movie than I'm used to watching. There's a few things that I like to say. First of all, the cast is incredibly small. I think there's maybe 6 actors in the whole movie, okay? And they all do a great job. Brendan Fraser, his only friend, the sister of his life partner, the wife, the daughter, the missionary, and I think there's one other actor, the pizza delivery boy, who's in one scene. Okay? Well, actually, a scene in one scene. He's off camera talking outside the home, and then in one scene he's seen. So that's it. It's a very small cast, but you don't feel like it. When you get into the movie and you're learning about all these different characters and their personalities and their interactions with him, it's quite interesting and riveting. One thing this is so crazy. You want to tell a sign of a good movie with good writing, of believable characters, and just a riveting plot. This movie takes place in one location, his apartment. Now, there's a couple different rooms. There's the main living room / kitchen, and then there's also the bathroom that he goes into a couple of times during the course of the movie. But for the most part, it's all one location. It never leaves the interior of the location. I think the reason is because that's supposed to be representative of him. He's so grossly overweight, he can't leave. Okay? So he's stuck in this apartment forever. He's battling with the fact that he refuses to see doctors and go to the hospital because in his mind, all the money he makes should be going to his daughter. He doesn't want to waste any money on himself because essentially he hates himself for the things he's done in life, the fact that he abandoned his family, the fact that his lover's dead now because of his life choices. And because of that, he hates himself. And that's why he's eating himself to death to begin with. But he doesn't want to spend any money on medical attention for himself. He wants it all eventually to go to his daughter when he passes away. And so, man, to think that the movie's realistic because this person is confined to their home, and literally the entire movie takes place in the home. You never have scenes outside the home because he would never see those, you see? But the thing is, it's a 2-hour-long movie. Not once during the movie did I actually feel like, wow, this is boring. Wow, this is too much of the same location. These characters, I'm tired of them. Absolutely the opposite. They're interesting with the way they interact. There's a whole subplot with the daughter and the missionary interacting, and come to find out the missionary is not who he essentially fully says he is. And then through that subplot, which originally is a little annoying because I don't know where they're going with this. I don't get it. When finally the culmination of that subplot happens at the end of the movie, you realize it was a way to basically make the daughter look like, or let him realize who his daughter really is. Okay, let's put it that way. He had a realization, a big moment of realization at the end of the movie, that his daughter is essentially really smart, and even though she's a problem child and she's doing horrible in school, essentially she's going to be all right for herself moving forward, even without him. Okay. Man, there's some touching moments where he's referencing this one scene. He's basically talking to his wife, or his former wife, I guess at this point, and talking about the last time that they ever really had a real meaningful moment together at the beach. And they're talking about him walking to the water. It's the last time he ever swam, and the daughter playing in the sand and her lying on the beach. And he can remember it like photogenically because it's so ingrained in his mind as one of the best moments of his life that he'll never relive. And then there's another moment at the end of the movie that calls back to that moment that's so emotional. So I'm trying not to spoil. Obviously, I don't want to let you know exactly what happens with the plot because that would kind of ruin the point of seeing the movie. But definitely it was very, very touching. It really, even though, again, it's not a happy movie. I gotta warn you. If you're gonna see this movie, there ain't gonna be no big smiles on you. There are some funny moments, but there's not gonna be giant smiles or anything. It's a horrible movie about a person in bad health who made bad life decisions, who's depressed. And there's a lot of points where he gets to the tipping point, and there's just some nasty stuff that happens. Some really bad emotions of people towards each other. It's pretty crazy in that regard. But let me tell you something. My God, his acting is great in this. Like, number one, obviously he wasn't that big, right? He wasn't that big. He's wearing a bodysuit and everything. You can't really tell. You really can't. It looks real. His acting, just to act in that bodysuit in some of the scenes where he's trying to get up and he can't and he's falling and stuff, crazy. And then on top of that, just his acting in general was really good. I'm someone who will tell you, when Brendan Fraser was big in like the 90s and the early 2000s, when he was doing The Mummy and stuff, I liked his acting. I don't think that he was a serious actor because they were casting him in action roles and comedy, romantic comedies. I think one of them was it the one where he was like blast from the past or something like that. He was frozen and he was thawed out or something like that. I don't know exactly, but I saw these movies with him and I was like, he's a fine actor. He seems like a likable guy or whatever. So to see him come back some 20 years later and jump into an insanely dramatic, serious emotional role like this is mind-blowing. This guy's been out of his craft for 20 years, and this is the first major thing he did, and he did this, and he did this well. I am not surprised he won the Best Actor award. I haven't seen the other movies that were nominated, but, dude, crazy level of acting. And not just him. I would say the other actors in the movie did a great job as well. A great cast of just a small, tight-knit cast of like 5 people, all doing amazing. And I'm very happy for him after this. I mean, what a role to have to do. And if you notice, he did do body transformation for the role. He gained a lot of weight, so he would look overweight. So when he was in the fat suit, it would make sense. I mean, how are you going to be in the fat suit with a skinny face, right? It doesn't make sense. So he did a lot of stuff and put himself at risk. I think it really worked out. I think he did an outstanding job. I really like the movie. I mean, it's hard to say you like a movie that's so negative and sad, right? But I have to admit, I like the movie. It's different from what I'm used to watching, but man, it was realistic. It was worth the time for sure. Great writing, great directing. Like I said, to be able to have that all in one location is insane. So if you have a chance to watch it and you're okay with the fact that it's going to be a sad movie, it's going to deal with real life things that you probably may be encountering in your own lives as you get older. And man, the dichotomy of a character, the one line that resonates with me is he says, I'm paraphrasing here, he says in the movie, is it so wrong to be in love? Well, no, it's not wrong to be in love, but it's your life choices that affect everyone else around you, right? That could be considered right or wrong. He already had a family. He actively chose to abandon that family to be with someone else. And did he ever really weigh the repercussions of what would happen if he did that? Because now here he is years later, everything in his life is falling apart, and now he realizes he had no relationship with his daughter because of his life choices. So was it wrong to fall in love? Maybe not. Maybe the love itself is not the central issue here. The issue is the actions that he had already chosen in life. You can't live 2 lives. You have to choose what life you want, and if you already have one and you abandon it, you're going to hurt those people. So, man, I mean, like, see how heavy the topics are in this movie? Crazy, mind-blowing stuff. So I recommend it if you're into that kind of stuff. You're not going to come out of this movie with a big smile on your face. Let's put it that way. But it very well may make you feel something that you haven't felt in a long time at the cinema. And I recommend it. And man, his acting is so spot on amazing. Just crazy levels of quality there. So check it out. The Whale. I strongly recommend it for a dramatic watch if you're into that kind of thing. Okay? Guys, thanks for watching my review of The Whale. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.